You know what? I think I still have the still have that file saved somewhere with the what were they called? Paddy points? Is that what they were?
I did see when I was looking at my saves. I did see the online save. I was like, damn, we did try that. It did go anywhere.
Yeah. Definitely not because like I'm a prick who couldn't get a controller to work and then couldn't have fun with. Certainly wasn't that. I think I'll just do some terror raids, probably.
Terror raids is what they should call them because they're fucking terrible. Oh.
Oh, hey, you know what? The terror raids have gotten a lot better.
Uh-huh. And if you believe that, I got a fucking home in California to sell you. Like,
I've got a wonderful real estate venture in Florida. Yeah, no. So you see, what happened is in the recent update, you can get a charm that gets you like a bunch of extra terror shards for every terror raid you do. So now they don't feel completely pointless. They're still bad.
agree to
And
this.
not fun. But they feel less pointless, at least to me.
To me, if you make a bunch of rewards for a shitty system in a game, that's not going to incentivize me to do the shitty system. That's going to make me be like, wow, I feel like left out because, yeah, there's this shitty system and I don't want to do it because it's fucking awful.
I'm on like grade 3 copium for Scarlet and Violet. I hate it so much.
It's one of those things where you play it on release and you're like, it wasn't that bad, and then you play it a little bit afterwards and you're like, man, this was awful.
There's still so much I love about it, but at the same time, I'm just.
Yeah, no, I've stated my opinions time and time again. My opinions. Lately, I am not the biggest fan.
Are you ready to go live?
I'm already live right now. I mean, I've been live while we're just shooting the shit.
Well, hi, stream. I am now live, and we are here to talk about, I don't know, just random stuff. It's been, like, what, a month?
Bit.
I'm still freaking out about Jujutsu Kaisen.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not as stressed as I was, considering I got, caught up on, like, one of the most suspenseful waits.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I can't even say that, because, like, I can tell there's a lot of chapters with a lot of very suspenseful waits that I would have had to deal with.
Mm-hmm. I think you caught a fun time to catch up with it.
Yeah.
To put it lightly.
Man, and this week's chapter felt like a kick in the nads.
Did it?
Uh-huh, and I love it. It's so good.
And this was the chapter where Kenny's like spilling the beans to some random, right?
Yeah. He just keeps on talking to people. Not even paying attention. It's like if you're telling a story to your dogs, as if you're walking through the house and suddenly one of them, like, is like, hey, you didn't tell me the first half of the story.
I don't know, but Jujutsu. Man. What the series.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I definitely have, like, a definite top 3 manga. at this point. And Juju might be at the top, but it's really hard to say. I also have both my wife and her brother have gotten caught up on it.
Oh.
And it's fun to be like on the same, like to be getting like kept up with it with them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same, there's a certain element of it. Neither of them are like the same type of pretentious prick that I am.
I feel it.
And
You're saying they wouldn't engage
also,
in you when they talk about the legitimacy of Data Riku?
yeah, they just don't want to hear about Data Riku and Data Sora.
Shaking my head. Like, what's even the point?
Yeah, like, what's even the point if they don't want to hear about that?
Come on.
Also, Matt, her youngest brother. I say youngest brother, but he's also like graduated college. He's younger than me. But Gojo was like his favorite character.
There's been a
so
lot
he got
of
hit with the spoilers because it was literally all over everywhere.
yeah. No, I don't think anyone hasn't seen the spoilers. Like, no matter if they're anime only or not, because and it's something that's interesting and something I wanted to talk about. We literally just witnessed the death of like what might be one of the most popular manga characters of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very popular character, and then they died. So
yeah,
it's kind of impossible for them to die without like literally everyone knowing about it.
Yeah, I mean there is still an argument that he makes it.
I was
still the argument to be made.
I was playing League of Legends, a game full of just fun people who enjoy life, and there was a person whose name was like Gojo on it, and they were winning the game, and they were like, so I'm in like silver gold tier level, which means like I'm around the average of players. That's where the average players is in League of Legends. We were in low priority queue, which means somebody on our team dodged a game previously, Jesse, and put us in low priority queue. And when you're in low priority queue, it incentivizes matching you with people who aren't your skill level for people who are like shitters, essentially. So it matched us with this guy named Satoru Gojo, who was doing really good, and they were just shit talking the whole game. And then they started going, "Why can't you beat me? Because I'm Satoru Gojo, and I just went, Sakuna, and they stopped talking. So that was funny.
Man, you just really cut right through his core there.
But yeah, it's almost like a cultural milestone for the anime and manga scene right now. It's
yeah,
like, where were you when Satoru Gojo
died?
And honestly, you know,
I'm really glad I got caught up like when I did.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what? Fair enough, because series has been good.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I have like so few complaints. Like there are moments where I like almost have complaints, where I'm like,
Yeah, no,
and then like it ends up bringing it back around.
There are moments where I definitely have complaints, which that being actually one of them, Gojo's death. I'm a little annoyed at some aspects around it, but I mean, I'm sure we can get into
I'll
that.
be back in a second.
The fuck? I think my game froze because I was trying to load the music for a second. That was weird. Alright, down we go. Didn't mean to do that, but there you go. This is my least favorite floor of all time, 98. because I've got stuck here like 4 times in this run. Really? You're such a fucking bitch. I'm playing Stardew Valley Expanded, by the way, so there's some change things like the stagger. Wow, okay, see you later. Dude just, like, styled on me. I'm not great at the combat in this game. Cool, and as I say, that a bunch of bats are spawning. Dude, I'm telling you, this floor, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate this floor. If I lose my sword, I'm ultiforing the game.
Sorry, the spacing was off in my washer, so it was making just an ungodly banging noise. But yeah, so as you were saying.
Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, before we get into Juju. Got anything else to talk about?
Let's see. So, in terms of new things, I started the Freerun anime, which very good. Like, definitely recommend reading Freerun. It's just so good. Also started the Sonic Prime TV show. I know I'm like years late to that, but I wasn't expecting much, and it's like a lot better than I expected.
The woke Sonic TV show.
It's very solid, very woke, 100%. Don't know what about it has people calling it woke, but yeah,
Is that
sure, definitely woke.
Oh no, it's a Sonic Boom TV show I'm thinking about, right?
Oh, you know, Sonic Boom was the one where they like Dave Knuckles some like half-baked feminist line.
People were pissed off.
They're like, "Wow, you're someone who sat in on like a feminist 101 course like for 20 minutes one time." Sonic Boom was funny though. Only had a budget of like $13 though. The animation was hot garbage in the funniest ways. Sonic Prime though, animation really good. It's not particularly fashy, but it feels just like really solid and good to watch.
Not particularly fashy.
And, Sonic is in
fascist?
I said flashy. I said flashy.
I heard fashy, dude. I don't know.
I said flashy.
Flashy
also,
Flash?
Sonic is just
speaking of Sonic and
loving prick in it.
Speaking of Sonic and Flashy.
Oh yeah, Sonic Frontiers. The update.
No, not at all. What I was talking about. Let's talk about One Punch Man.
Oh, that's right, the new One Punch Man. Let's see. So, the last chapter I read, I don't know where you're at. The last one I read was, let me pull it up. The one with Saitama closing the door on him. God, I love it so much. I absolutely love Saitama and Flash's relationship. Yeah, 191 was the last one I read. God, I love that. Yeah, I thought that last chapter was very solid.
They had a newer one than that, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
I want to bring it up because, well, yeah, I'll let you read it first before I say anything.
Yeah, there's no new one on the app, so it'll be a minute before I get to it.
Okay. Well, it's,
I wonder why the translations for that take so much longer.
It basically follows the storyline of the first like Sonic chapter back in the webcomic.
Oh heck yeah! I'm so excited for that. Those chapters were so good in the webcomic. I'm very excited to see them in the manga.
But it also goes at breakneck speed because I'm gonna slightly spoil you. It's not like a major. But like they decide to do some like, because they're doing the webcomic like chapters, and they're they're continuing from like where the webcomic was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going at the normal like webcomic speed, and then they swap to we need to wrap up some manga stuff real quick. So we're gonna like attach like 3 panels at the end, and they even make a joke about it. How like, oh, it was only 3 panels. It was like if the speed feels so like whiplashed. Because they were like, here's all the webcomic stuff. It's slow, it's methodical, and then here's the manga stuff, and and I was like, this is weird. And it's even weirder that they decided to make a joke about it. It's like you don't draw attention to how different the speeds of that were.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of sent me. I was laughing a little bit, but also like, come on, man.
Come on, man. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Sonic Frontiers update. It's because I know you care so much about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they add in the
I
multiple
really
characters.
give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so playing as the new characters they added, pretty good actually. Like it feels satisfying to play as them and whatnot.
You can't convince me this game is
Knuckles
like
is
fun in any stretch of the imagination.
So here's the thing, but there's a couple of big problems with the update.
Who could have seen it coming?
Yeah, so number one, for whatever reason, so for this update, it's only one map, but it's explorable by like all 4 characters, and they all have kind of like different ways of moving around the map, and they feel really distinct, and it's interesting. Like Tails doesn't even have a homing attack, so getting around as him like feels just very different.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, you only get to explore the map during the story in chunks. Like, you have to play as Tails. You can explore as much of the map as you want, go as slow as you want, but you can only play as Tails until you do your stuff, and then it switches over to Amy, and then Knuckles, and then Sonic, and then goes you through the rotation again. Instead of being able to switch between them freely.
Okay.
And boy howdy does it drag. Like, it just feels so disappointing because you want to be able to run around as all these new characters, but then you're just kind of stuck doing them one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be fine if, like, it made you do it one at a time for, like, maybe, like, the first objective while you're getting used to them and, like, getting the story, like, going.
Yeah.
But then it keeps on doing it. And then the second problem, and the reason that I have not actually finished the DLC, is that some of like the trial challenges that Sonic has to do are so ridiculously difficult for no good reason.
Welcome to DLCs. They always do this shit in any game DLC ever. It's like, what if we just made the difficulty 700 times harder?
Yeah, it's awful. But playing as the new characters in the overworld is actually really fun. The new, like, speed stages they added, I only played a couple of them, but all the ones that I did play are actually really good. They're really open-ended, and they're still short, which is unfortunate, but, like, they're still really open-ended with, like, a lot of, different paths you can take in exploration in, like, a high-speed Sonic stage type of exploration, which is so much fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
What stages they added, like, speed-wise, are really good. They're not plot relevant at all, though, so there's this kind of, like, lame separation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but one of the challenges is so hard because you have to basically, like, refight the Titans with no level up boosts, and you can't get any extra rings. And it's such a BS challenge that I literally have given up. I even put it on easy to do it. And it's still so BS that I have yet to finish it. And that's the Sonic Frontiers DLC.
Sounds wonderful.
And then for the, like, actually really good thing I've been doing, is the, Dark Souls 2. I finally started playing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my original plan for Dark Souls 2 was to, like, find the PS3 copy so I could experience, like, the original version first.
I could have given mine to you. Didn't think about that one,
I
did
guess
you?
I should have. I didn't know. But, like, so my policy on it was I didn't care enough. Like, I wasn't in that much of a hurry to play it that I was gonna, like, go searching for it, like, order it offline or anything. So I was more just keeping my eyes open every time I went to a retro game store, which isn't super often, but, you know, when I was out, I'd keep my eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, I couldn't even find a copy of the PS4 version anywhere for a while, at least not one that also had its case, which, not the most important one, but if I'm going to go to the trouble of buying it, I might as well get one with a case.
True. Yeah, mine has the metal case and everything.
Ooh, nice.
Fancy on-release date metal case.
But, so I finally got a PS4 copy of Scholar. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I've been watching like a YouTube channel that's been doing some soul stuff, and it's like really got me in the mood for it. So I'm like, all right, I'll just go ahead and start playing Dark Souls 2. Also, speaking of a YouTube channel I've been watching a lot, have you ever heard of TB Skyen?
No. Can't say I have.
Really fun channel. He did like a series of like he's playing through like the Souls games where he'll do like a blind run, and his like main thing is like character design.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be doing it, so it'll be like a let's play for like the first like 30-40 minutes of the video. And then after the let's play is over and he beats a boss, he'll be like, okay, time to do like a little short video essay about like the design of the boss and the storytelling that goes into it.
Sweet.
And they're actually really good. And the funny thing about, like, the reason I found his channel, like, why I know it exists, is because he posted a video essay about One Piece, about, oh god, what's his name? Was it Galahad? No. The butler from the Usopp arc.
Mm-hmm.
He posted a video essay about that character. The only One Piece thing on his channel. Just a video essay about that character and how he fits into the story, and I watched it on a whim, and that's how I found the channel. So I just thought that that story was, it makes me laugh when I think about that series of events. But anyway, Dark Souls 2. So this happens every time I've picked up a From game.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I've played Bloodborne through like 2 times, Dark Souls 1 once, and now I'm playing Dark Souls 2. Every time I start playing one, I feel like the game is absolutely garbage for the first like 2-3 hours, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it feels so bad that I'm like tempted to say this is a bad game and no one should play it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I hit like the 4 or 5 hour mark and I'm like, yeah, I am so in the zone right now. This game is fantastic. I cannot stop. Has happened every single time. For Bloodborne, it was mostly because I was not used to games where the attack buttons are on the shoulders. Like, I don't, like, do you remember that conversation that we had when I was first playing Bloodborne?
Not specifically, no.
Yeah. Because I remember telling you that, and I forget if it was like... If
I
we
do
were
remember
on
you
call
telling me
or if
that,
it was in
yeah.
person or
I do
not.
remember you telling me that.
And I could just feel, like, this sense of, like, what the heck is wrong with you? In your voice.
Well, because, here's the thing.
Whenever I told you that.
Here's the thing. I play a lot of Kingdom Hearts, and that's obviously on the face buttons. But I also play a lot of Dark Souls, and that's been on the shoulder buttons for eons.
Yeah.
So it's just
So like it's a weird thing for me to adjust to, or at least it was. I'm like pretty well adjusted at this point. I should hope. But yeah. So I remember that vividly. Also, there's probably still that like PSN message about me fighting the Bloodstarved beast somewhere on there. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so most of the time I start these games and I feel like they're garbage. And I think Dark Souls 2 I kind of shot myself in the foot. Because one thing, I forgot about the fact that you need to level up your adaptability to have a decent dodge.
Yeah. Very, very
Forgot about that
important thing.
Number 2 is the class that I picked, because I wanted one with like a decent dex. So I picked the class that starts out with an axe.
Okay.
And I feel like that was also a mistake, because compared to any other of the like early weapons, starting out with an axe means that you have a lot more recovery time after you attack.
Yeah.
So I kind of like double down, like giving myself a bad experience at the start. However, once I got my spear and started leveling it up, because I'm a spear boy all the way. Not like hiding behind a shield though. I like to two-hand it, give myself as much range as possible, and just poke them. But yeah, so once I got my spear and got it leveled it up, I started like really vibing with it. And so far, I really enjoy Dark Souls 2. I've beaten, what all have I done? I've done the Ghost Ship. I beat, the Ornstein lookalike.
What do you mean look like?
Well, he's not called Ornstein. He's I guess he could be the actual Ornstein. I don't know the lore that well.
It is a look like.
But,
it's a copycat.
But so so I beat him, which, very fun fight. Really can't wait till I figure out how to turn his soul into a weapon, because I want Ornstein's spear. I'm still so upset that in my first Dark Souls playthrough, I accidentally killed Smough first, and I didn't realize you only got one soul. Or no, I killed Ornstein first, and I didn't realize you only got the soul of the second one.
Yep.
So upset about that.
Ornstein and Smough still like one of the greatest games of all time. One of the greatest fights of all time, I should say.
Ornstein and Smough, greatest game of all time.
It's true. It's been facts.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I'm really enjoying Dark Souls 2 so far. I haven't run into any areas yet that like I like more than my favorite Dark Souls 1 areas. But like it's still early days. So like I'm like exploring like the second half of the Lost Bastille after you beat the 3 armor girl empty lady things. Ruin Sentinel, is that what they're called? I don't remember.
Yeah. It's a fun fight.
But yeah, but like I've done the place with the ship, I've done the place with the Dragon Rider, Dragon Slayer? Both. And so now I'm kind of like just doing that second half of the Bastille, and I'm having a blast.
Yeah, Bastille's definitely a fun area.
Yeah.
No, there are some very fun areas in I almost just called it Kingdom Hearts 2. Brain rot.
It's fine. I worked at 4 a.m. this morning, so I'm kind of exhausted as well.
If only I could excuse exhaustion.
Let's see. Yeah. My favorite Dark Souls 1 areas, though.
What's your favorite Dark Souls 1 area?
The Demon Ruins.
Okay.
Yeah. Like number 1 is the Demon Ruins. Number 2 is Blighttown.
Mhm.
And then number 3, I was thinking about this the other day. What was number 3? What was it? I was like going through it in my head because I was kind of like preparing for this conversation. Because I wanted to talk to you about Dark Souls 2. Because it was Blighttown, number 2, Demon Ruins, number 1, and then number 3 was... Oh, number 3 was the Duke's Archives.
Okay.
Even though I don't really like the boss fights for the Duke's Archives, like I don't really like Sheath.
Really?
Or the Bed of Chaos.
Well, better guess.
Like, the actual fight
I don't know if I'd call that
is
Duke's
fine.
Archives.
Well, no, I'm saying that I don't really like the boss fights for, like, my favorite area and my third favorite.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, I would call that
Like, I
the
don't
last
really like-
isolate.
Yeah. Well, when I say Demon Ruins, I'm kind of including Demon Ruins and Lost Isolith and, like, the whole thing. Because, like,
Gotcha.
I know they're two separate ones, but they're kind of, like, an extension. But, like, those are kind of my favorites. Even though I'm not a fan of all the boss fights. My favorite boss fight from Dark Souls 1, the Centipede Demon, is there, though. I do love that fight. I know. Is there like a contingent of the Souls series fans that have just immediately written me off for good?
I mean, I'd say there's definitely a lot of people that feel like once you get to those areas, the game is a little less perfected than what it is. Because, like, anything... Because are those both post-Anor Lander? Like, Dukes and...
Yeah, they are both.
Yeah, there's, like, a big outcry online that, like, anything post-Anor is just, like, kind of not as good as the rest of the game. I disagree.
I definitely don't feel that. I mean, like, they definitely have unique vibes compared to, like, the first half of the game.
Yeah. And Anor Londo definitely changes how the game is played, so I can see where people would think that. But that's also because Anor Londo is my favorite place in the game. God damn it.
My least favorite.
I love Anor Londo.
Those archers can go. Least favorite is a strong term, though, because, like, I think pretty much every area in Dark Souls 1, like, I do have a really big fondness for in some respect.
Right. Yeah. But, yeah, post Anor Londo gets a lot of flack online, understandably, because that's after you get the kill, or what is it called?
The fast travel unlocks.
Lord's Vessel. So you can travel between, because up until that point in the game, Dark Souls has done a really cool thing where every area was connected in the game and the world felt really coherent, and that's something that literally no Souls game has done since, and it pisses me off, to be honest. But up until Anor Londo, it's like that, and then after Anor Londo, it kind of loses that coherency a bit. And so they give you the Lord Vessel because they're like, here, go teleport around because we can't keep the world coherent anymore, and also it'd be annoying to travel around the whole world.
Yeah. I will say, I know that no other game has had, like, as cohesive of a single world as Dark Souls 1. But I will say that... And one thing that... I know I'm not, like... I'm probably, like, what, 30% through Dark Souls 2 at this point? Maybe
You
20.
can't say
Like,
anything
I'm still
yet.
really
You
early.
literally can't say anything yet. I'm not joking with you. You
Yeah,
cannot say anything yet. Because there is a moment later in the game that you will realize, oh...
But, like, I will say that I'm still getting, like, that sense from a lot of these early areas. And I'm guessing, from, like, a experience standpoint, that it's kind of going to be similar to Bloodborne, where it's, like, early on you have a lot of really interconnectedness.
Yeah, where it
lot
feels
of,
a little
like,
more
areas
cohesive, yeah.
overlap.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, no,
And then
there's Dark Souls
from
2
there,
is lambasted for one area in specific being just absolutely atrocious. Which you'll get when you get there.
I'll see.
uh,
Yeah, I will say I'm not like completely blind to Dark Souls 2 because I've heard like a lot of the arguments both for and against it over the years. So I'm not like a truly blind man, but
you will
you know, I'm
know when
excited
it
to see it for
happens.
myself.
You'll know when it happens because you'll be like, "What?" I don't think anyone in their first playthrough of Dark Souls 2 has not experienced this moment where they just go, "What?"
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Tell me if I can find it.
Like it's literally that bad. I'm not joking with you. I'm speaking to someone who loves Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that necessarily is like a horrible thing, but it's because it's attached to a Souls game that people are like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like the last game was like the most cohesive world that gaming has ever seen and has not seen anything since, and this game pulls this shit.
Yeah, I mean, although to be fair, if you really want to play a cohesive world, what you really need to play is Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah.
Nintendo
I
64.
wish you could see my face right now so you could see me fucking cringing when you just said.
Listen, Banjo-Tooie is a Souls game.
Okay, Mr. YouTube video essay Andy. I will not hear anything about this.
Listen, I had a moment the other day where YouTube channel I watch posted a video about like the world design of Banjo-Tooie and Banjo-Kazooie, and I'm like, oh heck yeah, is this gonna be one of my people? And then like 5 minutes and he's like, alright, so no more burying the lead. Banjo-Tooie is not that great.
Let's go! He's right!
And I'm like, no!
When he's right, he's right.
I've lost.
I agree
But then later on, he's
wholeheartedly.
like, yeah, so the world design is just not that good, but I really enjoyed Grunty Industries, but that's a me problem.
That is. Grunty
And I'm
Industries
like,
fucking sucks. Grunty Industries is one of the most... There's a reason why I don't replay 2E. It's not Grunty Industries. It's because I don't like the fact that I like have to like wait to collect things. It kind of pisses me off. But Grunty Industries is like when I think back to Banjo-Tooie, like maybe I should replay it. I think of Grunty Industries and I'm like, it can wait. Like Grunty Industries is
I will say,
fucking awful. It's miserable.
I will say that like comparatively, like comparing Banjo-Kazooie to Banjo-Tooie, even if you were 100% a 2E stan like I am, I still think Banjo-Kazooie is more of a replay every couple years to every year kind of game, and Banjo-Tooie is like a replay like once in a blue moon type of game.
Yeah, it's like Banjo-Kazooie is just so much fun. There are only like a couple moments where it's like, okay, you've gone a little too far here with your creation, but like by and large, the majority of the game's just fun. You can feel it in like every moment of the game, every facet of the game. It's like, oh, they're just having fun. They want to have a fun game. Banjo-Tooie, I cannot say the same.
No. My biggest complaint when I'm playing Banjo-Tooie sometimes is like, I wish this was more complicated.
There is a game for that. It's called Donkey Kong 64.
Oh, I love Donkey Kong 64 so much.
I remember, like...
But I will freely admit that I'm the problem.
I remember years ago, I had heard murmurings about Donkey Kong 64 and, like, the legacy it had left behind, and I was like, you know, I wanna check out that Donkey Kong 64 I want to check it out. So I got an official. This was back when I was stupid, or I mean, back when I was like you, Cory. I wanted to I wanted to experience what life was like on real hardware. So I got an official N64 with a rumble pack, and I got Donkey Kong 64 because I had played it previously as a kid. My dad actually had owned it as a kid, and I was at
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother's house, and I played it there, and I was for like a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And so I thought I want to play it like the whole thing. I hear it's like massive collectathon. This is back in my Psycho era where I didn't know better. I
Like O'Hara.
hear there's a massive collectathon. I hear it's a lot of
Entering
fun.
his Cory phase.
And then I played it, and I was like, man, this game's ass. And I bought a Rumble Pack N64 for that shit. So I just wanted you to know that Cory, that experience tainted me forever for buying real hardware.
All right. You know, I will say this. Donkey Kong 64 is less complicated than Banjo Tooie, and that's why I
I
don't like it
disagree.
as much.
I completely and wholeheartedly disagree. Maybe it's less complicated from like a standpoint where you don't have to remember as much, but you literally, this is without jest, you literally have to go through each area 5 fucking times to get everything. And it's not like you can like check off things, because sometimes you have to do things as other characters in order to get into areas as other characters, and it's like the most annoying fucking shit of all time. I get whoever designed it was like, we're gonna make this collectathon like 5 times as replayable, but like, listen, Chief, cut that shit out.
Yeah. See, my big problem with Donkey Kong 64 is that it's so. So here's the thing. Like, yes, it is more complicated in the fact that like you have like 5 whole characters with their whole sets of things to do with, like kind of interwebbing. But everything is so clearly signposted that very rarely does it feel like actually complicated. It feels a lot of the time like busy work. Even if a lot of the stuff you do is fun, in my opinion, I think that just moving around in that game is a blast.
Donkey
In
Kong
and of itself.
64?
Yeah. But again, I am the problem. I also really like ukulele.
True. Yeah, you are on some psycho shit.
Like it's not as good as any of the rare N64 games, but I also like ukulele.
And you know what? Fair. I think whatever the hell the name of the company is learned some lessons from that, and they made their second game a 2D platformer instead. Took back the scope a little bit, which I think was maybe needed. But I know you didn't like that decision either.
I still need to play that.
I haven't played it, but I heard it's actually good, which is good. I think that's what they need, is to pare down the scope a little bit. Because here's the thing: whenever you look up like anything related to like game design, or like you want to make a game, the first recommendation that literally anyone gives, literally anyone who's giving recommendations to make a game, is just do small projects. Don't make your dream game. Don't make what you want to make first, because you're going to be disappointed in yourself. It's going to take hours and hours to do things that you thought were simple. You're just going to confuse yourself. Don't make your passion project first. Make some fucking shit. Make some absolute dog shit first. And then once you get your feet wet a little bit, then you go.
Yeah, what was that old extra credits mantra? Fail faster. Just get something done, get the work under your belt, and then like from there grow out. I just still need to play the Impossible Lair, and I will at some point.
Which is why nobody has seen a game I've ever made. Because I've literally just made shit, so.
Failures on failures, that's how you start. Yeah, we were talking about Dark Souls too.
It's true.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got distracted by by the classic Souls-like Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah, we got distracted by that. One person got distracted
Listen,
by someone saying an absolute fucking insane thing. Which at this point I should be used to you saying this detritus. After the whole Data Riku conversation. I shouldn't even care anymore. But
I still
for some
have
reason I do, Cory. It should fill you with joy and heartiness, the fact that I still give a shit to talk to you after that conversation. A lesser man would block you on all platforms.
You know, depending on your definition, you might even say a better man would block you on all platforms. But I still appreciate you so much. Oh, there are tears in my eyes right now. But yeah, so I guess closing thought on Dark Souls 2 is that I like my spears.
It's a good game, and it gets a lot of rap because it's the worst of the Souls series, which I won't debate. I think it is. But I also like it a lot better than Dark Souls 3. God, I fucking hate Dark Souls 3.
I'll get around to that one eventually.
Have you never played it?
No, I have not. Because
wow.
I wanted to go through them in order.
It's a good game. First. It's a good game. It's a really good game. I dislike it a lot. There are a lot of things I don't like about the game. It is
I've also watched Let's Plays of every Dark Souls game. Mm-hmm. Multiple for some of them. I just don't remember everything.
Yeah, Dark Souls. I just fucking wow. Okay, cool, epic, fun game. I just killed one of my crops by accident. But Dark Souls 3 is a really good game. It's crafted so expertly, and I can't fucking stand it because it's this melding. I don't know if have you played Elden Ring or like watched Elden Ring?
Actually, I've only watched like a very small amount of it. I don't know much about it.
Okay, well. Oh, it's raining today. I forgot I should have put my fucking pail up. Oh well. But Souls games. Initially, as they started in Demon Souls and the original Dark Souls, which I think is a perfection of their formula. I think it's a really great game. What happened is they're these slow, methodical games about taking care in every action you do and giving a crap about everything you do in the game is what it's about. You know what I mean? You here with me?
Nothing is without cost. You can be punished for any misstep.
Yeah. And Dark Souls 2 is similar.
Gross.
Yeah, Dark Souls 2 is similar. It's about learning. People who say the games are hard, there's been a kind of turnaround on that. Well, the Dark Souls games aren't hard. They're just about learning formulas. And yeah, that's true. And I agree. I don't disagree. But the big thing is, in those earlier Souls games, they were very methodical, they were very slow, they were very punishing if you didn't know what you were doing. Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and Sekiro and Elden Ring, as they've gotten more and more recent, they've moved towards more fast-paced action styles. The zenith of them is probably Sekiro, a game that I fucking hate. I really don't like Sekiro. Which probably would have benefited more from me not playing it on stream. I think I would have liked Sekiro more if I played it by myself. But that's a thing for another. It's a topic for another day. but they have moved towards more fast pace, and Dark Souls 3 I'd describe as a mix between Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1, basically. It's a kind of the middle ground. And there's nothing against it, but I just can't enjoy it as much. I like my slow, methodical plotting game a lot more than I like my fast-paced, you're gonna die if you don't get in there kind of games. You know, like, I love Bloodborne a lot. I've beaten Bloodborne multiple times, numerous different playthroughs, builds, that kind of thing. I really hate a lot of aspects of Bloodborne. Like, I don't mind the fast-pacedness and the no shields. Sure, whatever. That's personal preference. The fact that every single enemy, be it a boss, be it a normal enemy, be it whatever, has like a I'm near death, it's time to use my mechanic, really pisses me off about Bloodborne. And I didn't really think about that till my most recent playthrough, where I was playing through and I'm like, every you can't approach any encounter without it being deadly, because like everything has a mechanic where it's just like, I'm gonna kill you now. And it's annoying. It pisses me off. Who the fuck am I giving this to? Linus, that's right.
Oh yeah, I can definitely feel that.
And I've lost the plot a bit with this tangent. The point I'm getting across is I'm a boomer Souls fan, where I very much enjoy the older style. Hold on a second.
I thought you were playing Stardew Valley. What are you doing in that
I am
game?
playing Stardew. I was supposed to deliver a radish to Linus, the wild man who lives outside of town. I delivered it to him, and he said, "This is a great gift," and it didn't complete the mission, so I was a little bit confused, so I just reloaded the game.
Okay.
This is why I can never actually pursue streaming as like a career. I get too distracted by the game. I'm too invested in the game.
Oh yeah.
Because when you stream, you have to either sacrifice like your conversationalism or your gameplay. And in my brain, I can never sacrifice the gameplay. You know, my brain gameplay triumphs over conversationalism.
Yeah.
And if I were to try to learn streaming more and stuff, I'd definitely like beeline for conversationalism, I guess, because there's so many streamers that I watch where it's like, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean? Have you ever been in that situation? Maybe not as aggressive.
Where you're watching them just
like
the
be ass at the game, but then you listen to that conversation and they're like slinging off zingers and like doing so much shit, and you're like, oh, they're ass at the game because they don't give a shit about the game. The game is a conduit for them to talk about random shit. And it's like, oh, okay. Like my favorite streamer of all time is Northern Lion. I've watched him since I was a wee lad, and he is giga ass at games. And it's like, why is he so ass? But he has like literally the best conversational tangents I've ever seen someone have. So, yeah,
it all kind of evens out from an entertainment factor.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. And we went off on this tangent because we were talking about how bad I am at keeping on subject about Dark Souls. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, which I still have never played. I probably should get around to it. Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 slow, methodical thinking. Dark Souls 3, it kind of scrapes away a bit of that to kind of adopt the Bloodborne style, which I am not the biggest fan of, but at the same time, I can understand it and appreciate the fact that they need to. Oh, this is a parsnip. That's why I'm fucking stupid. All right, but I appreciate the need to like change their identity and their ideas over time and make it better. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that Dark Souls 3 is a bad game, that Elden Ring's a bad game, anything like that. I just think,
But like sometimes you just want that slow unraveling of a knot on knot on knots that Dark Souls 1 was.
yeah, I just think Dark Souls 1 is one of the best games of all time. And Dark Souls 3 ain't shit. That's my honest opinion.
No, I will say that like I can't wait to replay like Dark Souls 1 in a couple years and be able to re-experience Blighttown again. So much fun.
I'm saying is when you eventually get around to Dark Souls 3, enjoy Madeir.
Okay.
Because you'll never get an experience like that again, and you'll never want to play it again, and you'll never want to... I should rename Madeir to Madizrable, bro, because that's what it is.
Let's see. Time to down to manga talk now.
Manga talk?
I think.
Are we?
Yeah, manga talk.
I'm trying to think if I have any other. I mean, are you said you had some. You haven't been playing games as much recently, or like you haven't been playing recent releases
really.
as much.
Yeah, not a lot of recent stuff.
There's some good stuff. You got it. Mario Wonder has definitely. I've been taking my time with it. I haven't been like beelining the whole game like I usually do with Mario games. It's been a fun experience.
I know that we're definitely playing through that. We're just getting it next week for her birthday.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a lot of fun thus far, and it definitely earns the title Wonder. It's kind of filled with that childlike wonder that you miss out on in your daily life.
I'm excited to play it, both multiplayer and probably single player as well. After I play through it with Alexa. See the ad where Bowser's a chubby chaser?
I did not.
Yeah,
no.
There's the ad where Bowser's like holding out a rose to Princess Peach, and then the power-up comes by and she turns into the elephant, and then he's like a hubba hubba, and then he goes
awooga. So you're saying Bowser likes the elephant transformation?
Yeah.
Listen, if online's anything to tell, he's not the only one.
Yeah, so I'm excited to play that. I'm excited to play Sonic Superstars too. I haven't heard as glowing things as about Wonder, but like I am excited to play that.
I've heard many non-glowing things about Sonic Superstars.
All I've heard so far is that it's fine. I haven't heard anything particularly bad.
I've heard people being like, "Man, why didn't they just like have the Mania crew make their game?"
Yeah. To be fair, though, you could say that to any game that's ever released. Man, I'd love another.
Well, I think it's specifically because they had like the sequel in the works and they canceled it or whatever, right? For Mania.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
So people are pissed.
I need to play Project 06. It's like so close to being done.
You just play what?
The Sonic 06 like complete overhaul thing that's been working on for a couple years. From what I heard, even Silver is fun to play as now.
I'd find that. So they. So what you're saying is they completely remade the game and didn't keep anything from the old game.
They kept a surprising amount from the old game.
So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like, all I have to go on now are like reviews, but like, I'm convinced that like there will be something good once I finally get around to playing.
But here's the thing. These are reviews from people who are big enough fans of Sonic 06 to seek out a remake of it. I'm not saying that they are trustworthy. I am maybe
You
saying they could be a biased source.
You raise a valid point.
And I'm not saying
Raise a
that.
valid point.
I'm not.
That there are fans of Sonic Forces, by the way.
Not only are there fans of Sonic Forces,
Yeah, and I'm one of them.
not only are there fans of Sonic Forces, I've seen people recently, like online, saying Sonic Forces wasn't a bad game, and I was like, man.
You do have to remember that, like, the 6-year-olds that played it when it came out are now like Twitter age, so.
You know what? If somebody said that Sonic Forces is mid, I would be like, you know what? That's a reasonable take.
If somebody said Sonic
Somebody
Forces
says
is
Sonic
mid,
Forces is good.
but people online are not saying that. People online, which is the attribute that I'm attributing to everyone who discourses online about Sonic Forces.
Man, Sonic Forces is such a nothing of a game. Why would you ever go out of your way to discourse about
Have you
it?
met Sonic fans?
Oh god, yeah, you're
You
right.
are
You're
one
right.
of them.
Sorry, I forgot for a moment. Oh god, you're right. Ah.
Bro, there are people out there defending Sonic 06, unironically. It is perhaps one of the worst games ever made. It might be top 5 worst games ever made. Especially like relative to its budget.
And I will defend Sonic 06 on the grounds that
You're a psychopath.
Sonic kissing Elise was not that cringe.
Listen.
It was cringe, but it was not that cringe.
Listen.
Is that why you're excited for Project 06?
The truth come out? Listen, Cory, all I'm saying is there are moments in games that gamers have misconstrued because gamers are stupid. Like, for instance, Tidus.
Okay, stop that.
Tidus laughing at the spring with Yuna is a really nice moment that I think people take out of context because he goes ha ha ha, and they don't understand that the whole point of the scene is that he's fake laughing on purpose. That's the whole fucking point.
Yeah, like that scene is cringe, but the point of it is to make you cringe. It's to revel in ridiculousness.
Sonic 06 making out with a human is not one of those scenes.
Listen, I'm not
notice I called him Sonic 06.
I'm not comparing Sonic 06 to Final Fantasy X.
Because Sonic from 06 is a different entity. Also, you play Final Fantasies?
Not anymore, but yeah.
I'd love to have an in-depth discussion about the intricacies of the different Final Fantasies.
We should. I've only played like 5.
I was gonna say, how many have you played?
I think I only played the like Final Fantasy 3 on the DS, so.
Yeah.
But that one was pretty good.
That game is so good though. That game is so good. How many I played? Because I played through 1. Played through like half of 2, maybe a third of 2. Played through most of 3. I don't remember much of 7 or 8 because I mostly played those when I was younger. But I played 9 and 10 and 12. Never finished 12, but I played most of it. 13.
You got a good amount under your belt.
That's it. Yeah. So it was a little more than 5.
I played through.
And then I played through some of the spin-offs like Crystal Chronicles and whatnot.
True. I played through 6, never beat it, which I feel sad about. 7, 8, didn't beat 8. 9, 10, famously didn't beat 10. I've ranted about how I haven't beaten 10 before. Which is something that I do need to go back to. 15, and I don't think anything else. Yeah, I've just been a middle-of-the-pack Andy, which I think is often considered the best Final Fantasy, so I don't feel bad about only playing them.
I played 9, which is objectively the best one.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the ones that I've played. So.
That I've played.
9 is great.
It's so good. Absolutely phenomenal.
That is really good.
I still get close to tearing up every time I hear You're Not Alone start to play.
And I think I don't think there are any bad like Final Fantasies. Like there are Final Fantasies you can make arguments for being worse.
I don't know, 13.
That's what everyone says.
Here's the thing about 13, in my opinion.
13 still has a really good, like, cohesive, like, storyline and throughput, which I like a lot.
A lot of the characters are really good. I'm not a huge fan of the story as a whole, but I really like a lot of the characters. Saz and Hope in particular are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that the gameplay is really fun in 13.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it kind of takes, I think, like a lot of people's main thing about 7, which is that it's got just such a long intro sequence. But it, like, turns that intro sequence into, like, 75% of the game. But, like, I think, like, if you go into 13 knowing what you're getting, then I think you'll have, like, a pretty good time with it.
I'm just waiting for 16 to get a PC release. Ugh. I will continue waiting. Because the director, Yoshi P, doesn't give a fuck about PC. Despite his main game being a fucking MMO.
God, I hate Final Fantasy 14.
I saw that you were playing it. You don't like it?
So, the thing about Final Fantasy 14, I hate MMOs. I can't stand them. Just, like, conceptually. Like, the idea of playing an MMO makes me physically sick to my stomach.
You know, I used to be like you.
But...
You know, I used to be like you, and then I took an arrow in the knee. Listen.
But my wife has been...
What I mean is... I think most MMOs are still pretty ass. However, I think there are good ones that are enjoyable to play.
I will say that, like, I don't want to make claims about quality with MMOs, because obviously I am not the market. I'm sure there's, like, a lot of good stuff in there. And I have heard from 14 that, like, if you just play, like, by yourself and just do, like, the story content, that it's actually really good.
Yeah, no, the story is really good. I have not played much of 14 myself, but I do have a lot of friends who play it, and I watch them do raids and stuff, and it fills my cockles with happiness when I see them, like, fighting a giant Alexander. I'm like, oh, that's cute.
But so the thing that I hate about 14 so much right now is that, like, right around the time that I had to get switched to mornings at work for reasons, so where I have to, you know, wake up every morning at 3, my wife's brothers finally convinced her to start playing Final Fantasy 14 with them.
I know where the
They
story's
stay up
going.
and play,
Yeah, I know
like,
where the
all
story's
night
going.
long. And these two events just happen to like coincide incredibly closely.
So she was up when you
That's my
came
main
home.
gripe. Or no, so she's like up when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Or she goes to bed at like 1 or like 2 and wakes me up on accident.
That's what I've heard.
But it's unavoidable because
From people online. I've heard that yet again that moniker, people online. I've heard that people's wives don't want to stop playing that game. Like they'll be like gamers online. They'll be talking about like, yeah, I do like stay up like 14-hour binges where I just stay up and play a game. But now my wife's doing it because thanks to Final Fantasy 14.
God, I wish I still had the stamina to stay up for 14 hours to play it.
I don't know. Final Fantasy 14 to me falls into that category of MMOs that are kind of ass. I've tried to play it like four separate times where I've bought membership and like tried to play it. Like, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, I'd enjoy it, and it's just like miserable.
Gameplay is pretty bad.
And all
its lower levels are especially bad.
That's yeah.
Like, half the abilities were like removed and then like pushed up to higher levels, so you just have like barely any of your toolkit.
That's what I've heard. Like, all my friends who do play it are like, the lower levels are just absolute ass. And I'm like, well, can I just skip it? Well, they're like, well, then you wouldn't understand the story. You know?
I feel like the story you can just watch like a YouTube
That's
video.
what I was thinking of. Like, because obviously people like the MMO. Like, obviously people enjoy it. Or else people wouldn't be making like have you seen this? Hey, Jimmy, have you seen this one? People are making Final Fantasy 14 porn accounts on Twitter.
Well, yeah, I think the social aspects of the game are like relatively high quality compared to other MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
Although their housing system is like oddly limited in capacity, which leads to
My wife
a
and her
lot of
brothers were
somewhat
freaking out
toxic
like a week or
behavior.
so ago about like trying to bid on a house in Final Fantasy 14.
What are they cooking, bro?
They'll probably never
Terrible.
get it.
Who let Yoshi P
Oh,
cook?
they got it.
They
Oh
did?
my God.
Wow, no. Surprising.
Who let
Were they
Yoshi P
all
cook
bid
this
on like the
mess?
same house or something?
Yeah, it was their what's it called? Their friend chat or something.
Oh, their FC's getting houses is a lot easier since there's more supply for them.
Such a terrible thing Final Fantasy is.
I don't think Final Fantasy is a terrible thing. Listen, I'll agree.
I still haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake. Still haven't played the original Final Fantasy VII.
Fucking good. Final Fantasy VII Remake's so fucking good. Listen, all I'll say
Sure,
is
one of these days I'll actually go out on my way to get a PS5.
Yoshi P is the darling boy right now of Final Fantasy. He did 14 and 16 now. People love him. And I can't disagree. I think he's great. He does a good job. People are lambasting Nomura in the streets, and I feel bad for him. Dude just wanted to make his dream game and basically got told to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
And for a decade has now like just being lambasted online in every single corner of the internet. It just feels tragic, you know.
Yeah. Really is. Let's see. Any other thoughts on Final Fantasy? I'm trying to think because I haven't really done much of Final Fantasy recently. I mean, we've been kind of thinking of maybe like starting up a 9 playthrough. But
you know how my psycho brain works. Like I I was booting up, you know, when I back when I wanted to play all the Dragon Quests, I started by playing the first 3, which I can recommend. I think they're fun. But it burned me out, and I never got around to playing like the rest of the series that I haven't played yet. And my psycho brain's like, what if I were to do that, but for for Final Fantasy?
And if you were smart, you could even skip 2.
But yeah, my psycho brain's like, maybe I'll just play the old Final Fantasy. Smile. Which I want to stress. Not that the old Final Fantasies are bad games, but
It takes a certain amount of effort to go through them.
Yeah.
Unless you go out of your way to play with like a guide and like, you know, maybe play like a ROM hack that gives you some quality of life updates.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the DS version of 3 though, very good.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting the like pixel remaster of 6, but it's like $70, which seems kind of expensive.
Yeah, like
Game.
I was looking at the pixel remasters as well recently, and like they feel like needlessly expensive.
I know they're like well done, but
Yeah.
not really that much.
But it's like they're well done, but also it takes me 5 minutes to get my ass over to like Vim's Lair or something and just download all the old Final Fantasies if I really give a shit. Like, I understand you're charging price for a product, but like $20 for a game that's been out for fucking 20 years plus, people are just gonna people are not gonna appreciate the cost to value ratio there, and they're just gonna fucking sell that shit. Or they're sell it. They're gonna just go torrent that shit. Like, it just feels a little nutty to me.
$20 is like $20 is a bit much.
Yeah,
I think it's still reasonable.
I think it's reasonable to an extent, but the game is 2 to 3 decades. The games are 2 to 3 decades old, and it's not like they're
like how much are they like on Virtual Console? Although I imagine they're not on Virtual Console anymore, obviously. But like even then, I'm pretty sure you could get them for like 5 to 10. Like the last time you could buy them by themselves.
But Cory, it's different because they're pixel remastered. That's the thing that irks me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that like adding on like $5 to $10 is like reasonable, but I think like 15 probably would have been.
Well, it's also the games. Listen, I don't want to shit on Final Fantasy because it's an established series. It's a great series. The games are 2 to 3 decades old, and there's been games that are better than them since, including games from their own fucking series. Like, you can buy Joe Schmo's indie RPG for $3 off Steam, and you'll have a better experience than if you were to play through Final Fantasy 2 or something like.
I mean, you could walk down the street and kick a rock so hard your toe bleeds, and you'd have a better experience than Final Fantasy 2.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the games are so old and storied. They're interesting enough to look at from like a perspective of like, ooh, this is gaming history, woohoo! Like, they're interesting enough from that aspect. But from the aspect of why would I ever purchase this game when I can get it for free?
Now, like, I would say that for, like, definitely for 1, 2, maybe 4. I think for some of the other ones, like, I don't know, I Dead it's definitely a hard value. What they should really do is have like a premium collector's edition that they sell a reasonable amount of, and then have the game for cheap for like 5 to 10.
Let me look up something real quick. Make sure I'm not talking about my ass. Okay. Where's the fucking full thing? I'm not looking for this. Where's the full thing? I'm looking for Dragon Quest, the 1, 2, 3 bundle on the Switch, where it had all the first 3. But it looks like maybe they stopped selling that now?
Ew. I feel like that would make sense.
Let me just look at the individual prices then, I guess. So Dragon Quest 1, $5. Simple price. It's actually gone down and been cheaper. Down to $3.19. Over time they've done sales, because Nintendo doesn't do sales on their own games, but they do sales on the third-party stuff that comes to their platform. Dragon Quest 2, $6.50. Fair enough. Dragon Quest 3, $12.50. Altogether, this is like 25-ish. And in the pack, I'm sure it was like 15 for these 3 games. Dragon Quest 1 and 2, they're whatever. You know, you could vibe with them, you could chill with them. Dragon Quest 3 is a genuine, like, banger of a game, still to this day. Getting them for $15 to $25 for all 3 of them is pretty nasty. Now, let me look up on Steam real quick. Final Fantasy. With the series. 29 games in the series. Final Fantasy 1, $12. Final Fantasy 2, $12. Final Fantasy 3, $18. Huh? 4, $18. 5, $18. 6, $18. What the fuck are you doing? Cut that shit out. And I'm sure they come in like a pack, like the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 bundle, or 1 through, yeah, it's a 1 through 6 bundle. It has Final Fantasy 1 through 6. It has all the OSTs, which already come for free, by the way. But it has all the OSTs. The bundle for getting all 6 games. Now, keep in mind, the first 3 games for Dragon Quest were 15, I think, maybe 20 in a pack, 20 to 25.
Yeah.
Depending on if you buy them separately, it's 25. So if you were to buy these games separately, double them, it'd be $50 about. For these 6 Final Fantasy games, which I think 6 you can argue is a paramount for 3, for Dragon Quest 3. For these 6 Final Fantasy games, at the cheapest price, if you bought them all as one thing, it's $75. Individually, it's $95. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, especially because I'm pretty sure, because if I remember right, because that's not the Pixel remaster that you put in that list, right? That's the original 6 that they have on there.
I think these are the Pixel remasters. Maybe no, these aren't the. Yeah, these are the Pixel remasters. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because like that is 110% not worth it, because the Steam port of 6 they had on there before was incredibly bad.
Yeah, no. The Steam ports that they had before, like of that and like the Chrono Trigger stuff, was all the mobile ports, which are ass. But yeah, no, these are the Pixel remasters now. So yeah, $75 for all the Pixel remasters. Not
wait,
worth
they
it.
did pixel remasters for other than 6?
Yeah, it's for the first 6. They did all
Oh,
of
I
them
thought they
pixel
only did
remasters.
6. See, I'm
No, no, no.
little
They did.
attention I pay.
They did all of them as pixel remasters. Which, I mean, the games look okay. Nothing against that, but they play like kind of ass. Like they're fun to play through for an afternoon or whatever, get through the game. But there's no like one of my friend's favorite characters, who's a big Final Fantasy nerd, is the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's not his favorite character because of what happens in Final Fantasy 1. He's his favorite character because in every Desegia game he gets a personality. And like in Final Fantasy 14 he gets a personality because they attribute it to the character after the fact. In Final Fantasy 1 nothing fucking happens. Like
Final Fantasy 1 is not great.
they've expanded on it
I
years
would
and
say-
years with like Stranger of Paradise, which is a really great game, and like the Dissidia games and like all that kind of stuff. But by itself, it's not a good game. Not a great game.
Like, having all those priced the same is terrible. Honestly, like, I think for like the individual pixel remasters, I didn't realize they had done all of them. I thought the 6 was the only one they had done.
No, they did all of them. Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely think it's overpriced. I don't think it's overpriced by that much. I think I would do like 10 for 10
I would
individually,
do.
think would be reasonable.
Yeah, I would do 50. 50 like 50 would be fine by me for the whole
10 a
pack.
piece, 50 for the bunch.
But
Although, honestly, I would probably
it's
have-
almost 100, which is
I would
ridiculous.
probably have 3, 5, and 6 at 10 a piece, and then the other ones at 5.
Yeah. And like I'm saying, the Dragon Quest, like kind of not really remasters, but like re-releases with a little bit of touch up, I think. $5 for the first one, $6.50 for the second one, $12.50 for the third one, which is an actually good game still. Like, that's reasonable to me. I'm willing to buy those games. I'm not willing to buy the Final Fantasy games. That's ridiculous. Hey, speaking of Dragon Quest, didn't the Monsters fucking new one come out or something?
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to play that, especially since Eric is the main character of it.
Dragon Quest
Or am I thinking of something else?
Treasures, yeah. Dragon Quest Treasures came out in July
no,
of this year. Which is the one with
Is that
Eric
what
and
I'm
his
thinking of?
sister. Yeah, it's the one with Eric and his
Because
sister.
I know Eric is my favorite character from 11 in the arcs where he was written well.
And then here's what I'm thinking about is recently they released Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, which apparently isn't that good. Which released earlier this month to mixed reviews.
The other day I was about to start reading the Dragon Quest Diamondra.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's based off of, yeah. So.
Peggy 12.
Oh, Peggy 12. Oh, damn. But no, I'm just waiting for beta breath for Dragon Quest 12. We're waiting on the edge of our seats.
Ooh, I need to do a replay of 11. Because I refuse to finish that game. Man, 11 was such a mixed bag of story, but when it hit, it hit.
I know, yeah, 11 has some really nice moments. When I replayed it last year, it was really nice.
And we're just gonna pretend the post game did not happen.
What do you mean? You mean Act 3? What do you mean post game? What are you saying? The real disappointing thing about Dragon Quest is the only games that are on the store, like the like Steam, I should say, are the only main one is 11, and then it's a bunch of spin-offs. It's kind of disappointing.
Mm.
Not to say the spin-offs are bad, but Like, why don't you just re-release the 1, 2, and 3 bundle that you did for Switch on the PC? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they should.
Because I would buy them and play them again. Probably. Something wrong
There's
with me.
so many games in series that I'm just meaning to go through, and I just don't.
Me waiting for Kingdom Hearts series to come on Steam as well, so I can rebuy it again, even though I already have it on PC.
Yeah.
Listen, the fact that I have to boot up the Epic Game Store every time I want to play Kingdom Hearts 2 is a travesty.
It is. I mean, having to boot up the Epic Game Store ever.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't think it's that bad.
I think it's pretty
The
bad.
emotional toll.
Well, I don't know. I use like Steam, that, and the Xbox app. See that comes up.
You probably have what is it? The Games Pass though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have Games Pass, so I don't have the Xbox. So I just like to do everything on Steam. I don't think the Epic Games app is that bad. The issue is it's missing a lot of features that Steam has built up over the 2.5, 3 decades that it's been around. That Epic just doesn't have. And it's like it's just a lot more intuitive, and it feels a lot nicer to just have Steam and use Steam and have my games on Steam than it does on Epic. The storefront itself I don't think is awful, but that's not really a compliment when it doesn't have anything else. And to be fair,
I feel like I don't really even use a lot of features of Steam. Like the bulk tab and the more selection. Kind of there. But yeah, it does. It's missing like reviews.
yeah, it's missing a lot of features that almost feel necessary on Steam. But anyway, Cory, what were we going to talk about, manga or something?
Yeah, we were supposed to talk about manga. So before we did to Juju, One Piece. Do you mind One Piece spoilers, Noah?
Started. Alright, so there's like a scene where Nami just straight up murders someone, like, makes a joke about it, and then but that's like anime only.
Yeah, the anime has some issues. The anime is
That's
not great.
Like, kind of weird, but also maybe Nami would just do that.
She definitely is the most the character that would probably murder someone and then joke about it the most of the crew, I feel like. Specifically, like in a jokey sense of like, we're telling a joke. I'm Oda here telling a joke. She'd be the most likely one to be that joke recipient, I feel like. Maybe Brooke. I mean, to be fair,
Yeah,
Luffy
there are others.
Luffy does fucking completely murder people in one of the arcs and just gets glossed over. So.
I mean, I think he's
Yeah.
people already.
Oh yeah, but this is in the manga currently is a very exciting time for me. This is my first since I've been caught up. This is my first big flashback.
Yeah, congrats.
Like, I'm not counting like Impel Down, or not Impel Down, the little mini Ohara flashback. Not counting that. But like, so this is like my first like big like flashback. It's exciting for me. Like some of my favorite bits from like One Piece have been, you know, like those have been some of those extended flashbacks. Like one of my favorite storylines in all of One Piece is the Nolan flashback from Skypiea. So like, I'm pretty excited to be here for a flashback in present times. Besides that, though, I do think the last couple chapters have been very good so far.
Mhm.
And I think that's about all I have to say about One Piece, because everything right now is so up in the air that like it's kind of hard to make definitive statements about any of it because it's all so in progress. All the stuff happening at the moment.
Yeah. I think we'll see. I kind of agree. I think One Piece is in a healthier state now than it has been for a bit.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll say.
Like this is probably the first time it's cut away from what's happening immediately on Egghead, and I have been both engaged with what it's cutting away from and what it's cut away to.
Well, let's not get hasty.
At least for me, anyway. It's the first time.
I like what it's cutting to, at least. I don't like the. There's this thing that people online suffer from. I'm gonna call it stupidity. Where people feel like if you link a story element to a previous story element, you're like a god of writing. So Oda linking the kind of past flashback of Kuma to Nika, understandable, and I can tell that this is probably where he's wanted this character to go for a while. You know, this is when he originally designed Kuma. You know, he's holding the book. He seems that kind of type where it would be like he'd believe in something very vehemently. You can tell that this was probably the idea for Kuma since his creation, for him to like have believed in something like greater good or something like that. Understandable. It wasn't Nika. And you can't convince me otherwise.
You can't convince me that he had any idea what Kuma believed in.
Right, but what I mean is, like, specifically Kuma, you can tell that character, probably he had the idea of what we're learning now way in advance, and I give him credit for that. But it didn't relate to the story at large, like people are pretending like it does. Like, he's so smart for linking Kuma's backstory, or Luffy's like genius writer. It's like, it's not genius to combine elements of your story to make a coherent narrative. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not genius.
Good.
I feel like that should
Like,
be expected. Yeah, like it's good and I enjoy it and I'm glad it's happening, but it shouldn't be treated with like the gravitas of like what a god writer. It's like that should be expected. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I think.
And by no means am I
You got a lot of
downplaying.
those people that just.
Am I downplaying Oda? I'm downplaying his fans.
Me too.
No.
I think a lot of people go way too far in terms of giving him credit for having everything planned out, especially because he's like literally said that he doesn't.
Yeah, no, and I think because I have a friend who's also a fan, and the other day was like jerking off how much he had planned out, and I was like he was talking about how, I don't know if you know about Brooke's story, but by and large he had Brooke planned out, but he was a bit different. He was initially supposed to be a gunslinging cowboy.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
And that story element obviously changed quite a bit. one of my friends was jerking off like, oh, even way back when he had him designed and stuff, but it was like, well, no, he had an idea for a character that would eventually become Brooke. And you can see, like, in old, like, artwork and designs that he, like, because in, like, the Laboon flashback, we see a very distinct caricature, or, like, a silhouette of someone with a cowboy hat. It's like, okay, that was supposed to be Brooke. That was proto-Brooke. Unfortunately, since Brooke's changed now, it kind of doesn't mean anything. It just means there was a guy with a cowboy hat on his crew. That's it.
Yeah, I do think it's a little weird to give. It's like, credits due where it's due, but like some people definitely go way overboard. And I think it's part of it is that they just want to like feel smart for like having noticed
Right.
it.
People want to feel smart because they're like, this media that I read has done the basic fundamentals of literature. You're not intelligent for realizing that media can interlock with itself. It's like when people freak the fuck out over Undertale, great game, fantastic writing. People freak the fuck out over its
Leitmotifs?
yes, the motifs. Thank you. The motifs with specifically the music, where it's like the music will do the same stuff over and over again in its different songs and make a little coherent through line with the songs. That's really nice. It's really intelligent, and it's really cool how they executed it. It shouldn't... People are like, wow, you hear this song? This song has the same thing as this song. Yeah, motherfucker, that's how it should be. Like, that's... We're praising the basics of competency. Just because people don't realize it. It's not because it wasn't there before. It's there before. People are just too stupid to realize
Yeah, there's plenty of other things.
People just don't realize that it exists. So
It's also kind of sad because, like, I think a big thing about like Undertale, especially, and I feel like One Piece might be kind of similar, in that it's like it's one of those things where it's like clearly so much thought has like gone into it from the word go that people who normally don't pay attention to that kind of thing like are actually noticing it. And so they just kind of like get lost in the sauce, as it were. And they don't really see the bigger picture of how that fits into things other than just like the thing that they are currently obsessed with.
yeah. It reminds me of... You're never gonna read Attack on Titan.
God, no. Ugh.
You say it, but I do think for a majority of its run, it was very good. But it reminds me of Attack on Titan has a really good like through line and storyline, and a lot of the storyline does deal with like timey-wimey bullshit, which isn't specific to like it's not like they're traveling through time, but it's like one character has visions of what will happen in the future, and it's faded and more or less like that kind of thing. And I think they handle it pretty well for most of the series. I do think the series ending is handled like ass. That's just me. I think a lot of people agree. But I think it was a lot better before they changed it, and then it got worse. Yada, yada, yada. I'm giving myself a lot of caveats here. What I'm trying to say is it gets a lot of flack online. Rightfully so, because I think it kind of handled the ending really poorly. However, there's a scene similar to Funny Titus Laughing, where a character, the main character, Eren Yeager, breaks down and cries. You know, he's been doing all this awful shit. He's literally genociding people across the world, and later he will be excused for it, which is fucking horrible. But in this moment, the character is breaking down and crying because of jealousy almost, because the main female lead, Mikasa, he hasn't got to spend time with her, and it's revealed that he actually does like her, even though, like, throughout the whole series it's kind of been ambiguous. It's revealed that he does like her, and he wants her to be, like, in a relationship with him, and he's, like, mad that he's sad that he's been, like, genociding a bunch of people because he hasn't gotten to spend time with her. Trust me, it's better in execution than the way I'm explaining it. But he breaks down and says, I don't want her to be with anyone else. I want her to only think of me for 10 years at least, and that kind of thing. This line has been memed to hell and back because people make fun of it for him, like, breaking down. They're saying, oh, he's like he's like weak breaking down, and like he's crying over a girl when he's like genociding people. Like, what the hell? This is a really nice scene. I really love the way they portray Aaron as this character who's gotten way in over his head, who's done something abhorrent, and now, like, when he's speaking with his best friend, he finally has the capacity to break down and be like, I've done all this horrible shit, but I'm still a human deep down who wants the feel of, like, the comfort of another person. It's this lovely scene, and it's get memed online because the series ends awfully. And I think a lot of the stuff after it is awful, but that scene in particular gets lambasted and, like, fucking roasted for being terrible when it's such a well-done execution of the characters, which I think a lot of Attack on Titan is a well-done execution of the characters. But scenes
A lot
like...
of it is a well-done execution.
But scenes like where... But scenes online... Different scenes online are praised, like scenes where characters, like, tie back to other things. Like, for instance, in the first scene of the manga/anime, they're under, like, this big tree, and Eren wakes up, and he's like, oh, I had a dream. Later, it's revealed that, like, that might have been his future self, like, kind of going into himself. And people are like, wow, it's such, like, an interesting, like, such a well-done scene where it's like, that's setting up writing for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's not...
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a crazy, like, whoa, they really wrote something crazy here. The man set up for himself a story beat that he was going to pay off on eventually. Like, and people act like it's the second coming of Jesus. Meanwhile, a scene that is one of the most well-written scenes I've read in manga history for a while is lambasted online constantly for being garbage, when it's, like, one of the best character scenes I've ever seen written. I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. People are fucking stupid.
They are, especially when you're, like, main point of contact to social media, because, like, I'm definitely guilty of this, where I will give certain communities flack that's, like, well-deserved, but also, like, a lot of it I get mostly from the fact that all of I see of it is the takes that are just, like, bombarded onto my eyeballs from YouTube thumbnails and Twitter posts, or Twixter.
Trickster?
Twixter.
Oh. Quickster?
Yeah, because it's not Twitter anymore, so we'd have to put the X in there. So it's Twixter.
Oh. I thought you were referencing, like, a completely new platform. I was like, I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, you got Blue Sky, X, Twixter.
I wouldn't doubt it. People parody that.
Oh, that would be so funny if someone made it. Please do. Any billionaires in the chat?
They don't need to be billionaires. They just need to be, like, somebody making a college project who's lazy or something.
Alright, so, now I'm upset they're not Twixter.
Our new social media platform, Twixter. Coming to you live, 2024.
One funny thing, and this is like 100% like, like someone who just kind of upset in the moment, because I was kind of making fun of somebody who had not read the Juju manga yet, but had been spoiled on what happened to Dojo. And so like they just kind of went
your wife's brother.
Yeah. And so he had just kind of went and like read like some of that chapter, like just like the scenes where he died, basically like the couple of pages before and then when he died. And he was talking about how like he really didn't like the scene and like how like it really sucked how he died. And I kind of said, and I wasn't talking to him at the time, but I just kind of said, you're looking at a couple of pages out of context. How can you judge the quality of the scene?
Yeah, true. How can you judge the quality of the scene out of context? Now let us talk in context. I hate the fucking scene where after Gojo dies.
God. Can we skip to that and talk about that? Because I have so much to say about the Gojo fight.
Yeah, we could just skip to it. Yeah, who fucking cares? We haven't talked about it in a while.
Yeah.
Nobody's
like,
watching
listen,
this show
fight...
for its consistency.
Nobody's
watching the show and sentence.
Yeah, nobody's watching. Do you mind about Juju spoilers, Noah?
It's fine. I'll probably never watch it anyways.
Okay.
Or read it.
So here's my take on the Gojo fight, right? It is simultaneously, and it like bounces between. It is some of the most fun, like, I've had in a manga fight ever. Like, it is 100%, like, it feels like everything has been leading to this. It's so good. And then sometimes it kind of feels like very... It almost feels kind of like forced. Kind of like, is this what you wanted? Here you go. Have it. And it kind of bounces between these two things. In a way, to me, that feels intentional. I don't know if I'm just, stuck on the sauce, but, like, to me, it kind of feels like it's like kind of like this balancing act of, like, this is what it's like to watch and obsess over something.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really intensive battle, and we've been away from it for, like, 9 pages of exposition. And it's all really engaging and interesting, but at the same time, is this really what you're here for? It's kind of like asking you that question, even as you're engaged with all the mechanics going on. And so there's like this kind of like juxtaposition between like, what is it that you really want? What is it you really care about? Like, is it the action? Is it the mechanics? Is it, the central question at the heart of things of, what does it mean to love? And so there's so much going on with it. And the chapter that I ended off on, I was really, like, not a fan of. Because, like, the chapter that, like, I hit the brake on was right before the chapter where Dojo dies, where it literally ends with the panel Dojo won.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. It literally just goes Gojo won, and then cuts to the next chapter, and is like, we were joking.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Whenever I saw that chapter, I was like, listen, I know that it could go either way. Dojo could win or he could lose. Like, if I had to bet, I'd probably say he's gonna lose. But at the same time, like, there are a lot of ways he could win, and it would both make sense, and the story would still progress in an interesting manner. But if he goes on to lose, with the last panel being the words "he won" of the last chapter, like, that would feel like a slap in the face. It would just be...
it would be even worse if it didn't even fucking show what happened. That'd be weird.
But here's the thing with me, okay? Because I feel I suddenly have a feeling that we have diverged in major ways. So for me, like, that last panel happened, and I'm like, if what I think is gonna happen happens, I'm gonna be livid. I'm gonna be so incredibly upset, and I'm not gonna like it. And then the next chapter hits. And it's like, it's this jarring moment of you've been waiting all week, I think 2 weeks actually, because that was one of the break weeks when that chapter got posted. And you're just waiting for the chapter to drop, and the first thing you get is what is clearly a flashback, because it's a young Dojo talking to Sudoru Geto. And you're like wondering what's happened, and like the fact that Dojo has lost the fight is like revealed in what's kind of like an offhand comment
Yeah,
in one of the
it's
pages.
so dumb.
And it's just so enrapturing. You're like, wait, what? And Dojo's just sharing this like incredibly interesting conversation with Dato. We just see young hot Dato again, which I'm always a fan of.
God damn it.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
so like, there's this incredible like. There's this mounting tension as you realize what has happened, but you don't actually get to see it yet. But at the same time, it's like it's bittersweet because of like like what's actually going on here is Dojo like has like these last moments with his friends, and it's that are also long dead, and it's just like so sweet. And whenever you finally get to that panel that is coming, it's like shocking, but at the same time it doesn't quite feel tragic, because it's like you understand why it happened. Like, all the ways that like the fight has been going and what's been set up in it. And so that the moment that happens and you see Dojo's body lying there and Sukuna kind of explains how he did it, you're like, yeah, that checks out.
For me,
And like just
I understand this perspective. For me, it's kind of insulting to have your character be not specifically like winning the fight, but to have your character be in a dominant position for most of the fight. There were times where it looked like Sukuna was in the lead, but by and large, Gojo was basically appeared to be running away with it. Which is fair. You do that when you have the other character win sometimes. It's perfectly fine to do that. The issue for me is, and we do come back and get the explanation for Sukuna for how I beat him. Fine. The issue for me is you should just show that instead of for 15 chapters where like 12 of them show Sukuna like on the back foot, essentially. And then to just cut to Sukuna one. It's like, what? Huh? It feels a little strange. And not only does it feel strange, but it feels strange because Gojo... So when we realized Gojo had lost, when we were in this flashback, like you'd mentioned, I'm fine with it, whatever. Gojo lost. One of them had to lose this. We knew either way it was going to be majorly impactful for the story. The issue I had with it is Gojo's almost this kind of selfish Netero-esque character in a lot of ways. Where he does care for his students and stuff like that, but he also really was like for this fight and really the words I'm trying to look for here. Really
doing it for himself.
Yeah, and not only doing it for himself, but also like you could tell he was feeling himself while he was doing it. Not like that, but
like he was having not quite Hisoka, like Hisoka, but not quite like Hisoka.
So it feels almost insulting for that to be juxtaposed with the fact that as soon as he dies, he's like, I never stood a chance. Sukuna was always winning. I couldn't do anything. Like literally, 80% of the panels showing the fight were you in a dominating position having fun. And then to be like, actually, I was a loser the whole time and I couldn't beat him and I never stood a chance. It was like, what? I could understand it if he was like, damn, he got me. Like, that was a good fight. We were even, clean, 1v1. But he got me with, like, an attack that I wasn't expecting. Or he learned how to get around me. I could understand that perspective coming into, like, the flashbacks. Like, damn, he got me. You know, I should have beat him. Damn. Instead, it's like, yeah, I never stood a chance. He's just better than me. I suck. It's like, what?
That's okay. Your take is incredibly interesting to me.
Because
So,
that's what
I
he
think there were a
said.
couple of-
That's more or less what he was implying, is that he never stood a chance against Sakuna. When it was very clearly, he felt like he stood a chance. He felt like he was winning the whole time. But and then snap zoom to him being like, actually, I never stood a chance.
So
It just feels weird.
So here's the thing: that for me, when I was reading the fight, I had a very different take on it for most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like the early part of the fight is the kind of part where it's like, because like at that point, like Sukuna's got a way to hit him in theory. Gojo's, you know, basically invincible at the same time. So like those early parts of the fight are like, you know, Dojo's obviously on top, right? However, from the moment that the domain clashes begin, from that point on, in my opinion, it is constantly going back and forth with
Yeah.
who is like actually in the lead, but with Gojo constantly on the back foot.
I wouldn't say constantly. I would say there's moments where he's on the back foot, but there are, and especially towards that end, right before that Gojo wins panel, it's like 3 chapters of him pretty much like dominating. It feels like, where he's just laying it on Sakuna, and Sakuna just can't respond. It feels like, and to be fair, Sakuna's building up his way to beat him, and that's fair, which they show off. Which I think is the way he beats him. I'm fine with. I think it's an interesting way to beat him. It makes sense. It's just the fact that Gojo, you give him this whole chapter. You say Gojo wins. Okay, cool. And then you have him lose the next chapter. Okay, we get it. You're fucking funny. But the issue I have with it is the fact that we have this whole chapter of Gojo talking, laying out what should be his real thoughts. Right? There's no argument that this is like him having delusions or anything like that. These are his real thoughts, and his real thoughts are, I never stood a chance. Huh? Remember when you came out the damn prison realm, like, can I help you? Like, I will beat you no matter what? The whole time in the story, he's been saying, I can beat Sakuna, I can beat Sakuna. Gojo isn't the kind of person that's, like, delusionally talking to himself, you know what I mean? Like, he's the guy who's like, has a very specific personality, and that personality would not be lying about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't be, like, telling people, oh, I can beat Sakuna, as a lie. He would genuinely believe that he can beat Sakuna. So the fact that this happens, and he goes, yeah, I could never beat him, I never stood a chance. Like, the fact that he dies to Sakuna, and then this feels like, almost like Geej, because we know Geej doesn't like Gojo.
Yeah.
It feels almost like Geej being like, I don't like the character that much, so I'm just gonna, like, have him dick ride his opponent at the end because I don't like him that much. It just felt weird. Like, why is he going like Sakuna was better than me in all moments? You literally had multiple moments in the story where you said, I'm gonna beat him. I'm better than him. And you're not the kind of character that would lie about that kind of stuff. Him being beaten by him isn't my issue. The issue is, for me, the fact that he immediately upon being beaten starts fucking gaslighting himself and, like, dick riding his opponent. It just doesn't make any sense.
So, like, for me, is that... It's like what Dojo specifically says, and I'm going to quote maybe, because did you read the scans or the official release?
I read both.
Because I don't know if the wordings were different. That
I read
made it come
both.
across a little bit.
I read both.
But so, like, the way it reads for me is that, like, you know, Jeto asks, how is the King of Curses? And then Jojo says, man, he was crazy strong. I'm not sure if I could have beaten him even if he didn't have Megumi's 10 shadows.
Yeah, now that line specifically fucking irks me.
That line for me is just incredibly interesting because, like, this whole fight has been about, like, breaking down mechanics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there is no way for us to honestly know how that fight would have gone. Because, like, the entire question of this fight from a mechanical standpoint is, does Sukuna have a way to break through Dojo's Limitless? If he does, he can win. If he doesn't, there's no way for him to win.
Yeah, and he couldn't have done
And
that if he didn't have Megumi's powers, because Megumi's powers helped him learn how to do it. As he explains, literally in the explanation for how he killed him, right after Gojo in his flashback is going, yeah, I don't think I could have beaten him even if he didn't have those powers, the powers that allowed him to beat me. Yeah, I don't think I could have beaten him.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't sound like Jojo is, like, 100% sure. It sounds more of like a, yeah, I don't even know. Because, like, there's no way for us to know that fight had gone. And, like, the decisions that they would have made had he not had the 10 shadows would have been vastly different. And there's also an element of, like, the difference between Jojo and Sukuna is that, debatably, Sukuna might have been planning for how this fight was going to go since, like, chapter 7.
Right.
Or not chapter 7,
But
like chapter 14.
It's insulting to say that Gojo wasn't the same. You know what I mean? It's insulting to say that Gojo also didn't expect this to happen. You know what I mean? Like, he literally extends Yuji's lifespan on his word. And he tells Yuji, even though we know that this is a lie, he tells Yuji, I'll kill you when the time comes to rid the world of Sukuna, more or less. Even though we know that this is more or less a lie, he doesn't want to kill him. But at the same time...
Oh, 1 second. Hello, my love. Like what? I guess that's just how I normally sound?
Yes, sometimes. Or if you can speak.
Alrighty, so what was I in the middle of saying?
Yeah. It's not important. We just agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree, but, like, I don't think... I think that for me, those last moments were...
I don't even
Gojo
think...
has been at the top of the world.
I don't even think this last moment was, like, handled poorly, per se. I just think the fact that Gojo does something that feels completely out of character is really fucking weird to me.
I would just say that for me, it doesn't feel particularly out of character. For me, anyway.
And I'd say, you're wrong.
Like, here's the thing. For most of Gojo's life, with the exception of when he fought Toji, there really has been no one that could touch him.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even with Sukuna being back at basically 100%, it's a little debatable if eating his corpse was enough to actually replace that finger, but I'm pretty sure it was. But Sukuna's basically back at 100%. Even with that, you know, Dojo is still within striking distance of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Dojo, taking realistically the results of what happened after they happened, is not out of character to me.
I don't think him talking the results is out of character. I think him being like, I never stood a fucking chance is out of character. Which I understand that you're saying that he doesn't entirely say that, but to me, that's what it feels like he's saying.
That's how it reads.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I suppose is a fair reading. Yeah, I will say though that like after the way they ended the chapter before, any other way than starting out in that flashback like that and letting the tension build up as you already know what happens before you see the results. I will say that any way other than that, and I probably would have hated it. Like, there are very few routes they could have taken after that last chapter ending,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like the one they went with is the only one that would have worked in that situation.
I feel like dragging out some of the characters to be like, I don't know. It felt weird in some of the aspects, but yeah, I don't think it was bad.
Yeah, there's also a lot about the whatchamacallit, there's also a lot about the outcome of the fight that we don't actually know yet. It's like one of the central questions is like, was everything Dojo did like for nothing?
Or one of the central questions is, what's the point of telling this story anymore? Nobody can beat Sukuna. Like, literally the strongest person died to him.
Well, I don't know. I actually think that several characters can beat Sukuna. Mostly Hidoruma, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, I think there's definitely
Can pull it
ways,
off.
yeah. And that's the I don't know what to call it, the Hunter x Hunter contingency or whatever, where it's a lot more obvious in Hunter x Hunter than it is here. Here it feels like there's a bit more like power scaling almost, where it's like this person has infinite over 9,000 power level in Jujutsu,
Mm-hmm.
compared to Hunter x Hunter, where there really isn't power levels. There are people who are like stronger power, but literally at any moment, anyone who knows Nen can kill another fucking person in a moment's notice.
Yeah.
Like, there's no safety, it feels like. And that's kind of, in a way, because this series is so inspired by Hunter x Hunter, it has some of those elements where it's like, there are powers that can stop Sukuna, you know? Just because Sukuna has the power level way more than other people doesn't mean that he can't be stopped.
Like, if he lets down his guard for an instant, then, like, he could be killed.
Yeah.
Also, I think, like, there's, like, a couple of big questions right now. What was that, Noah?
Wasn't there hints of an ending soon? I thought people were talking about that.
Yeah, it's probably not going to go on for much longer. The main villain just revealed like his plan, more or less. It's the most recent chapter.
Yeah, not like the ending in the next few chapters type of thing, but like...
that pops out next after, you know, the other villains element.
It's like next 100 or so chapters probably going to end.
Like, I would probably say... Like, cause like, there's so many questions left about the like aftermath of the fight at the moment. Cause like, Sukuna got his kind of like oh hi there, shiny Mew Pains, welcome to the stream. Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers inbound, so caution. But so like, there's so many questions. Like, Kasukuna got his basically like full heal.
Yeah.
Physically from that thing. But can that heal his brain?
It's true.
Like, no matter which way the coin falls, you know, like, I don't think I would complain about the writing either way, but, like, that is a central question for, like, how, of whether or not Dojo was able to accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm.
And also, was Dojo actually able to connect with Sukuna on an emotional level like he wanted to?
Well, and that's
At
the
the
weird
moment, it looks...
thing that we see with Sukuna is he has these weird moments of like maturity almost. Like right now in the most recent chapter where he's talking about like he understands what love is and like that kind of thing. It's like this is weird for our like main maniacal villain to be preaching about this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have so much to talk about Sukuna and Kenjaku both. Oh, I have so much to talk about. But like, there's, at the moment, we don't quite know how that's going to shake out, or if, like, we're going to do any more on it all, because, like, at the moment, it looks like Dojo has failed in every respect. Sukuna is completely healed, and Sukuna already knows everything he needs to know, and was not really impacted by the fight with Dojo anyway, even if he does have some respect for him now. But also, I don't know, people's minds can be changed after the fact, so like it is very possible that Sukuna may have been impacted by this fight in certain ways.
Yeah, for instance, like a permanent
That,
brain
maybe
damage.
Yeah, permanent brain damage for one. That's a possibility. For another, though, is the fact that, I don't know, maybe in some sort of like Yuji-related moment of connection, we can find out that maybe Sukuna did have some sort of connection with the Dojo that changed him. Who knows? But like, there's so many things that are just like, I don't know, my brain has been racing about these chapters for ages.
Yeah.
And I personally really liked the death. I have been very interested to find out what you thought about it for a while now.
I don't think the death itself was my issue. It's just the fact that when you have closure with a character, you expect the character to like say some final words or final moments of like what's important to them, or like at the very least not betray their character in their final moments. I don't know. To me, it just feels like a complete and utter, like, just 180 on his character. Maybe I'm crazy.
I understand why you feel that way. I, however, I feel very differently about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the reason Dojo has been so strong for so many years has been because of just, like, you know, just how much of a main character type of person he is, right? He is so self-assured, so innately powerful, and so, like, creative in both application and... like, both application and... like, both the application and, like, in combat moments.
Mm-hmm.
Right, everything he comes up with, everything that he does. And I personally don't think that in the moment where he does finally lose, I don't think that him having a moment of self-reflection about that, where he says, I don't know if I could have beaten him even without the 10 Shadows, I don't think that contradicts JoJo's prior character at all, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I do, so fuck you.
Dang, he got me. I don't know how to come back from that one. I will say also though, the way this fight balances like just so many different like mechanical intricacies is just so good. The chapter with the domain clashes, I know I kind of talked about how like it felt like the worst of shonen battle manga for a moment with like all the asides and all the people talking as nothing really happens.
Yeah.
That's also one of my favorite chapters in the entire manga.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I need to reread this fight and like kind of internalize it a bit more too.
How many times have you read it?
Like twice through.
Okay, I've read it like 7. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I've reread the entire manga since then.
Yeah, I mean, I reread the entire manga as well. I reread the entire manga because I stopped reading for a bit when... What is it? When, like, right around when the fight was about to start. Not when it started, but when he had just taken over Megumi's body. I stopped reading for a bit.
Oh, okay.
And...
Wild time to dip out.
Well, no. When he took over Megumi's body was when I when I started reading again. That's what it was. Because I'd stopped reading for a bit before that because this arc is fucking long.
Oh, it's so good.
It took place over like 2 to 3 years, so like I can see why somebody who's binge reading through it had an enjoyable time with it. For somebody who's been reading it forever,
that experience, so.
it's a little annoying, but yeah, now that it's finally over, I can say with confidence. Now that the arc finally ended into like parts that are interesting. I'm not going to say the whole arc was boring, but I am going to say the whole arc felt like it was biding time for a lot of it. For me, personally.
I think that's fair.
So once it got to like that part where it's like Megumi gets taken over and then like everything just like speeds up, it was fun. So I dedicated a reread to it after that because I was like, I gotta reread through this whole long ass arc again and remember what exactly is happening.
Yeah.
So, and then I reread the fight itself again because it's an interesting fight. And it's a bit confusing at points because of all the power system nonsense that's going on.
Yeah, like there are certain details that like, especially about how Maharaja works.
Yeah.
And the intricacies of it that like I really needed to reread to have a full grasp of it. I really needed to reread both this fight as well as the fights in Shibuya and versus a girl who takes over Megumi's sister.
Hey, speaking of Megumi, he's probably fucking dead now.
Oh, listen. My my main fan theory is that for how they're gonna beat Sukuna is that like Sukuna took control, like complete control over Megumi's soul by forcing him to kill his sister. However, forcing him to like, you know, using Megumi's power to kill Jojo is gonna have Megumi so jazzed that he's like, all right, I'm back, babies. Heck yeah. I beat Jojo. My whole life for this. Anyway, I found out the bad news.
Bad news.
Paul's not on my side. He hated the way Jojo died.
So good. I'm glad he's on our side. Anyway, I got you this because you've been sad lately.
Oh, well, thank you.
Listen, I didn't hate the death itself.
Just hated aspects of it.
I just hated the fact that literally the whole chapter was him going, Sakuda's great, dude. I couldn't stand a chance of Sakuda. No, Sakuda's just so good.
I love that chapter so much. It really gets me. Oh yeah, that also my wife and her brother have also been making fun of me because of when I was telling him my take about the fight, like I was texting out. And there was one like little paragraph or blurb that I'd written about it, and they've been making fun of me ever since.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna read it out here for posterity because I think it's a fine piece of writing.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Is it the part where you said
Hey, let me read it. Let me read it. So I said, the surprise of chapter 236 is how the chapter starts completely separate from the fight with the younger Dojo and Dato. The fact that he lost slowly dawns on you as the chapter sits and stews in philosophy, nostalgia, and Dojo's respect of Sukuna. And the shocking moment of what's happened to Dojo is saved for after the chapter has primed you not just for his defeat, but what it means for him, Sukuna, and everyone Dojo has impacted.
Alright, so that's paragraph 1 of the video essay that you're making?
Listen, I am about to write like a series of like blog posts about Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, oh, I still haven't told you about my theory for how the Sukuna fight goes based on the Grasshopper fight.
What was the theory?
Okay, so. Oh, thank you. So here's the
I
thing,
still haven't
right?
told you
So
about
the
my
whole
favorite
thing
part of
about
the series
Grasshopper
as well.
Oh wait, what's your part of the series? I've been talking.
My
for a
favorite
minute.
part of
I'll
the
let- I'll
series
let
is
you go first.
Nanami's death.
It hurts so much.
It's so well written. Like,
And it doesn't give you any time to process it either.
nope. And it also is so in line. The reason why I think as well why it might be one of my favorite parts is because yet again, people have this issue called being fucking stupid. Online, I was reading somebody going, "It's so stupid that Nanami's death was just used as a power up for Yuji to be like more powerful in his fight." Did we read the same fucking thing?
What? What on earth are they even talking about?
Did we read the same piece of media, bro? Like, literally, part of Nanami's whole character is the curses assigned from people when they die, like to the people that they love or the people that they hate or that kind of thing, is like assigning a curse to someone when you die, and Nanami fucking hates that. And he wants to make sure that when he dies, whoever he's with, he doesn't, like, assign a curse to in his final moments. So in his final moments, instead of saying, like, you can do it, or, like, I know you can handle this, or, like, something cheesy, he says something equally cheesy, you got it from here. But it doesn't put the opus on Yuji to essentially be cursed by him. It's such a nice little line that's like that fits so in line with his character, where it's like he doesn't curse Yuji at the end, like he doesn't inadvertently like fuck him over essentially, like in his life.
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a nice little send off to Nanami, where it's like he stayed true to his character at the end, where it's like he's dying, he's literally in massive amounts of pain, and he's just on death's door. And he just turns to Yuji and says, "You got it from here, bud." Like, he's not gonna say anything else because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to chance cursing Yuji that way. Like, it's so nice.
And the fact that like part of what enabled him to do that was like the help of like Haibara, his friend who died way too soon. And it's just it gets me.
It's such a well written character. When I read that part, that's when I kind of like, because that was right as the advent of like Shinjuku was all happening and shit. When I read that part, I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be one of my favorite series from now on. Like, the fact that he respected the character enough to write him having this moment where it's like he just says one line, but you know, like he says one line that's kind of cheesy. It's kind of like, it's not like a super like motivational line. It's not like a super like, it's not like a super in-depth line, but it's this little line that means like next to nothing, but upon the exploration of the character and the identity of the character, looking into it, you're like, holy shit. It's just a line. It's just a single line, but for some reason, makes you feel that way.
It's so good.
Well, shit.
But yeah, so anyway, the best part of my favorite part of Jujutsu Kaisen is the fight with the grasshopper.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the central conceit of the central part of like Yuji's character arc, especially in Shibuya, is kind of like coming to the realization of what he is, or like trying to figure that out, right? Like he's been trying to figure out like, you know, like what like his like guiding principle through life should be. He's been like popping around ideologies, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But Shibuya is about him realizing what he is. And so like his first fight in Shibuya is against a character who says quite clearly that they are intelligent. Mm-hmm. The whole bit is that the grasshopper is not what he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole bit, and it's funny. And Yuji's like, you know, I don't think that someone who's intelligent has to say it, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cue to later on in this arc, and like post the arc where Yuji has his realization, and so he consistently says that I am a card who kills curses, that is my function, and that is what I'm going to do. If you say this, very intelligent, right?
Uh-oh.
Backing off that point for a second, okay?
Discord breaking up for a moment. He's turned robot.
So, it's forms versus 2.
Uh-oh. He's going full robotic.
So we are setting up.
He's still talking. I don't think he hears me.
Conflict. Oh wait, no, am I still robot?
You're fixed now, and you're responding to me now. Okay. No, you were like.
Okay. Like I heard you saying that, but I assumed it was just like for a moment.
No, you were going for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So like the whole thing of the fight is that, you know, the grasshopper says he is very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the grasshopper believes about himself. And Yuji points out to him that I don't think someone who's intelligent has to say that about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in this arc and going forward, Yuji states to everybody, you know, he says he is a cog in the machine whose function is to kill curses. And then he says this quite a lot. These two things are connected. Backing off from that point for a second. This fight is kind of mirrors Yuji's relationship with Sukuna in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that central question of 4 arms versus 2 as kind of like a mechanical like point of the battle between them. Obviously has ties to Sukuna's true form with the 4 arms.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the fact that you know, Yuji's first fight in the Shibuya arc is against a grasshopper. The reason grasshoppers are cursed is because of the way that they just lay waste. They can kind of lay waste to everything, just consume everything within a huge swath and just leave a wasteland behind, a gunky, messy wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Yuji wakes back up after Sukuna goes on his little rampage, what is it that he sees but a massive wasteland with a little bit of gunk there from the dead garbage character, right?
Okay.
So, like, the grasshopper fight is, like, the perfect setup for Yuji's arc in Shibuya and the arc in the series as a whole, especially for how he is going to have to face off against Sukuna later. The whole thing is, it's 2 arms versus 2. It's about kind of knowing who you are and realizing that you don't. Right? And so where the fight with the grasshopper ends, with Yuji assuming honesty via stupidity, but then being surprised by I'm just gonna say it, a penis thrusting out at him that he's able to handle anyway. The fight with Sukuna is going to be ended. Yeah, he manhandled it. He was able to effortlessly jerk it. And so the fight with Sukuna is going to ultimately end with a moment of honesty from Yuji.
Okay.
Followed by Sukuna's metaphorical in the form of Megumi coming out as gay. And then they kiss and Sukuna will be defeated.
Sukuna will be like, I can't inhabit a gay person!
Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. What do you think? Am I right on the money here?
You're missing the part where Nobara comes back and says, yes, Queen Slay.
What do you mean comes back? She isn't dead. They never actually said she was dead.
There are a few moments in the series that I feel like need to be handled well for me to respect it fully. One of them was Gojo's death, but, you know, the time's passed.
And it was handled so well.
Nobara's resolution, I'll say, is another one.
Wait, could Nobara kill Sukuna? Because now that Sukuna is separated from Yuji, could she kill Sukuna by just, like...
Yeah.
Stabbing Yuji?
Well, maybe not doing that, but...
That'd work, right?
She could...
I mean, she might also...
Her power definitely could.
Yeah. She might also, like, accidentally kill Chozo at the same time, and we would all be very sad.
You say we.
Oh yeah, also, Chozo is my favorite character.
Okay, fair enough. I don't hate Chozo. But I don't love him either.
Oh, I absolutely love him. His fight with Kenjaku is, like, in the running for my favorite.
No, that's a great fight.
Series.
It's a fantastic fight.
The moment when he starts, like, mimicking his brother's moves, like, actually makes me tear up.
Oh no, Chozo is... Yeah, no, I like Chozo. I was confusing myself. I thought you were talking about fucking... Kimishinada or whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah. The lightning boy.
Oh, Kashimo.
Kashimo. Lightning Lord.
Kashimo is incredibly well written.
I think he's incredibly well written.
Kashimo
Has some amazing fights. I do not like him.
Yeah. Kashimo is in my opinion, a perfect example of a pathetic character whose entire purpose is to be pathetic.
Yeah. No, I think it's actually really written well, so.
Yeah.
Aww.
That's like the main reason, like, kind of going back to the Jojo Sukuna fight for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the main reason that I would say that the question of whether or not Gojo was able to actually connect with Sukuna is because Sukuna compared Kashimo so much to Gojo.
True.
Like, the fact that kind of like, at the moment it seems like the resolution to, you know, what's that quote that keeps on coming up? It's, I'm the one who will teach you about love. Or I'm the one who's going to teach you about love. Or power and the solitude that it brings, I am the one who's going to teach you about love. And, like, the fact that the resolution to that at the moment is with Kashimo, and with Sukuna kind of being to Kashimo that, like, hey, I know all about love. kind of seems to me like there's going to be more to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the moment, Kashimo is kind of wrong about everything.
Mhm.
And so, like, the fact that, like, Kashimo is proved wrong by Sukuna there, doesn't, mean much. But, like, the fact that, the resolution there would be with Kashimo is what makes me think that there's going to be more to it.
Mm-hmm. But yes, to clarify, I like Choso. Fun character.
I love Chozo. He is my favorite.
You remember when, remember, this is gonna seem like a weird tangent at first. You remember when,
Yeah.
every time we bring up, Wano in One Piece, we're always complaining about them bringing in more characters? Because really, like, there's a little bit much character bloat in that series. Is it weird that I, like, want to see all of the painted wounds?
No, not that.
Like, I wanted to see them all come out, dude. Especially because Yuji's totally not one of them.
Yeah.
Yuji is totally not Kenjaku's weird son thing.
So, I'm so interested to see what happens when Yuji comes out, and I'm so on board with this last chapter. It was so good.
I was so surprised that they actually cut away from the action to like go into like, here's what Kenny's been doing.
Yeah, me too. And like, I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
like,
no, it was
like
a
I am
fun
complaining
chapter.
because like I wanted to see what happened, but at the same time, like, Jujutsu Kaisen is so supremely well paced.
Yeah, speaking of fun characters, fucking Hiroshiguruma. Higuruma, that's the courtroom guy, right? That's who I'm trying to reference.
The lawyer.
Yes, love him.
Yeah, me too. He is fantastic. Yeah, I will say, especially one thing that I kind of forgotten that I didn't really realize until my reread is just how good he is with cursed technique and cursed energy.
Yeah.
Because basically, like, he kind of lucked out in the fact that his like inborn technique that he got gifted was had a barrier built in because it was a domain, and so he was just able to intuit from how that barrier technique worked basically everything else about cursed energy.
Yeah. No, and I think it's also
And
like those, like him and the comedian are both like really well done. If a normal person was thrown into this, they wouldn't react like this, but like we have them all the same.
yeah,
And they don't feel like
so good.
poorly written characters.
Not in the slightest. Oh, I love them so much.
And I like Kenny like
Also,
trying
here's a little
to figure out how the comedian just shows up. Like he's like, was it Mei Mei's sister or brother
yeah.
or whatever? Like how did he appear here? And he like doesn't expect them to be anything at all, and then he throws a big attack at him and it doesn't affect him at all. And it's like,
Oh yeah, I know. Because if anything, he was expecting Yuta to show up and try to kill him, like, because he was like specifically watching for him.
Which, like, Yuta, where are you, bro?
Oh yeah, Yuta was supposed to be next in line. But
Yuta was
also,
supposed to be next in line to beat Sukuna's ass. Like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah. So here's my current thought process. Is like this is like kind of part prediction, part like extrapolation of mechanics. If Sukuna is able to do domains again, if his brain was healed, it's still up in the air whether or not he can, but like if it is, I think Hidoruma might be able to beat him in a domain battle.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Higuruma can probably beat him.
Because I think Hidoruma is the only person right now who would be able to open a domain without a barrier. Because especially on the reread, my interpretation of like that scene of all talking about the barriers and like like can you even make a barrier without or a domain without a barrier? My interpretation of that scene now is Hidoruma realizing how to do it. And so, like, I kind of think that might be why Hidoruma is going out there with Yuji.
I also think
because he kind of realized it.
Yeah, like Higuruma just if he can do that, even without it, I think his powers could like beat Suguna. You know what I mean?
Really unlucky.
Yeah.
The-
Uh-oh. Robot time. It's the robots. They've come to take over.
Yeah, cute. Like
He's a robot. Oh my gosh, yeah, he's just going. Cory, no, you can't say that on Twitch.
And so, like,
No, Cory, cut it out. You can't say that. You're not allowed to say that on Twitch. We're gonna get banned.
That's why Emo is a.
I'm glad that last word cut out. Oh my god, he's still going on. Like, I gotta mute this guy, dude. He just won't cut it out. Well, Cory figures that out. We have finished the mines. Let's go. Poggy. Right, Cory? Pog.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, there you are. So, one thing also that I love about the dojo fight is that I know that, like, the whole series hasn't actually been building up to it.
Mm-hmm.
During the fight, it really does feel that way. The way that just, like, almost every mechanic that has been built up about cursed energy, like, kind of falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun to read. And, like, think about, even.
Yeah. No,
Also,
I think...
the mechanics,
The what
I had
mechanics?
no idea I was enjoying them as much as I did.
Domain?
Yeah, like the domain mechanics in general. Like, one of Nanami's big weaknesses as a sorcerer was the fact that, like, he couldn't make a domain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the big difference between Nanami and Dojo, like, between a first class and a second grade, is that Nanami could never make a domain.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Nanami never learned any of the, like, kind of secret techniques that the big three families, like, always keep to themselves, like the simple domain or the fallen blossom emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't know, part of the reason why Nanami was, like, ultimately handicapped is, like, his straight-laced nature.
Yeah.
Like, handicapped to a certain point, because, like, I don't know, if he had just stolen them, or, like, figured them out without, like, the permission of the families.
Yeah.
He could debatably have been, a lot better off from a combat stance.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's just not something that Nanami would do.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's also good. I've been thinking about Jujutsu Kaisen so much ever since I started reading it.
It's really
Oh,
good.
and just how much I love so many of the fights in the culling game specifically. Well, I mean, like all the fights in Juju are good,
Yeah, that's what
but like Megumi.
on a week by week basis. It's kind of a slog. Like, oh, I don't want to fucking see these random characters and like what they're doing. But like on a reread of like with the whole thing out, it was a lot of fun actually. Like a lot of the fights that I didn't really pay attention to before.
Once you know like when the break point of when stuff is going to happen is, I imagine that
Mhm.
helps. But like the fight between Megumi and the contract guy,
Yeah.
like, good God, that fight is just absolutely phenomenal. Every second of it just had me hooked.
Yeah. No,
And
and
it's
like
like,
the you said with the what the bus. My brain's broken.
with the guy who burns the contracts.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
that's what I
forget
was
his
gonna reference
name.
as well. Yeah, that fight is so well done. I really like that fight.
Yeah.
And
The way
and
Megumi's like strengths and weaknesses like play a part in his like ultimate victory.
mhm.
Oh, it's just so good. I really like that one. Both of the Hakari fights are so much fun. Like, wait, I might have gotten his name wrong, but the gambling guy,
Yeah,
the Fever man,
great fights.
yeah,
You
so
know,
good. I know I have seen that people don't like his ability because it's too complicated. I live
those
for
are
it.
people that have
I'm just
not read Hunter Center.
yeah. I at one point made my wife so upset at me that she hung up the phone on me and wouldn't talk to me for a while. Because I was talking about the culling game arc, and I'm like, I love me some overly complicated game like mechanics in a manga. Like, yes, and blah, 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 give it to me, Daddy Deej. And so I said that, and she hung up on me and would not talk to me for a very long time after I said that.
I mean, honestly, deserved.
Yeah, I'm not going to dispute that.
Just hearing you say that like
But
gives me the same feelings as when you started talking about Data Riku. So you know,
fair enough. Yeah, I love the culling game. Of course, the culling game being my favorite arc probably also tracks with the fact that like the more I think about it, Greed Island is probably my favorite Hunter x Hunter arc.
yeah, okay, you're stupid, but yeah.
But that being said, I will say that depending on how it ends, the current arc in Hunter x Hunter might like overtake it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, we're back in action.
Oh, we are. Do we
Recently,
have a
yeah.
release date?
No, not a release date, but recently he was Xing out some stuff about how he was twittering out some stuff about how he was working on it again. So
Oh, awesome.
we're back in Quaction.
The next time I get my hands on some Hunter x Hunter, I'm probably going to just immediately start crying.
It's so good.
It really is.
Like Juju
Yeah, like I
is.
kind of.
I love Juju. I've loved almost every moment of it. You know, couple of issues, but by and large, I love Juju, and it is a holdover for Hunter x Hunter. You know, it's my temporary.
Yeah. For me, Juju is like Hunter x Hunter, like distilled, kind of. It is like everything that is good about Hunter x Hunter with like with like a lot of like the rough edges, kind of like sanded down. Because
Really.
like you don't have that thing in Juju where you have like there are characters where you just like wish you got so much more of them. Because Hunter x Hunter has so many characters that like you love, but like don't actually get to do that much. But at the same, Juju doesn't.
Oh, he's turned into a robot again. Yeah.
Does.
Yeah, the robot's talking to me again. I mean, it's really crazy what AI technology can do these days.
And so, yeah, at the end of the day, I have been an AI this whole time. No human could ever come up with the takes that I have come up with.
The good thing is you're working perfectly fine now, so...
Oh wait, did you hear that part?
Yeah, your admittance is on full tape.
Oh no.
Oh my god, he admits his opinions are getting whack.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm the problem and they know. Everyone has always known that I'm the problem.
Already knowed. Listen, Cory, all I'm saying is I'm glad Data Riku's no longer in this series.
Yeah.
For various reasons.
For various reasons. Me being wrong, one of the big ones.
Well, it's just, you know, I don't like to have you make a fool of yourself. So.
You just tell a lie. You just told a lie. Yeah, so what I was saying is that like a lot of like the rough edges of like the things that you kind of say that you wish Hunter x Hunter had sometimes are kind of like smoothed out in Jujutsu Kaisen. But at the same time, there's like a certain magic to Hunter x Hunter in like the ways that it's willing to let some things go that just like cannot be recaptured.
Like, I've talked about it before. And it's kind of funny that we're talking about it, Hunter x Hunter, considering the series has continued past its original kind of end date. But speaking on like how like things willingness to end stuff, where it's like I love when series just let things die, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the fact that Full Metal Alchemist has not done like any major stuff really like past where it ended makes me enjoy it that much more. Is like what might be
I agree.
one of the best series of all time.
Shambhala, though.
There was a few you know missteps, as we'll call them.
Those were like filler movies. Like to go along with the original anime. Like even if they're not good, I would. But anyway, I have to feed my wife before she kills me.
I have to feed myself before I fucking die as well.
Yeah. So thank you both very much for being on here. I love you both dearly. I want to give you both ton.
Sound like you're about to vomit while saying that.
By which I mean talk to you both endlessly. But it is time to go.
Suspicious.
Noah, read Freerin.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. The way my wife described it is Violet Evergarden, but D&D.
I mean, that does sound like something I would like.
I'm wholly uninterested.
Listen, let me tell you, Freerin, absolutely beautiful. It is so good. Highly recommend it. And one day, whenever you do get around to reading it, I do want to talk to you about it.
All right.
Yeah, Freerin stream in 3 years. Let's go. We're setting the date.
Oh well, I think the anime is gonna end in like a year, maybe. I think it's doing like 50 episodes straight.
Oh wait, they already have that like set in stone. That's so awesome.
Or at least that's what I heard. Who knows if that'll go through.
Yeah, anyway, I love you both. Maybe we'll play some Mario Wonder once I get my copy. Buy a stream.
So, yep. Oh, let's see as well. The stream. Goodbye.
Yeah, stream is over.
It's
I
been
love you
fun.
both. Bye.
Bye.